DJI Possible 2023 Releases Part 2. Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Marcus Crawford and Mr. Ron Brown. We spent the better part of the evening following up to the DJI Possible 2023 Releases, this time going a little bit more in depth. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. This is part 2 to last week, all right? What could DJI release in 2023? And there was an article on Drone DJ, and I want to go over it. And it's kind of sort of the same, but there's a little bit more flavor to this. So I wanted to spend a few minutes here before we close out tonight to talk about this, because I think it's real worthy. Now, Ron, before you joined, and Marcus too, I found out, okay, there was an article out there that said DJI mic, the singular mic and the one transmitter were available on the website. So I go out to the website, not the case, okay? However, I go out to B&H, it is available on B&H and not on DJI, all right? So they haven't updated their webpage for some reason. But that article, they took the article down. I don't know why, okay? That I don't know why. So, okay, all right.
Well, that was a strange thing, Bill. Last week, I looked the day it was supposed to come out, and you could not buy the mic, but it made a reference to a $200 mic system. And then a couple of days later, I called Marcus, and it was available, and I had put it in my cart by going to Weekend. You could move that single mic into your cart.
Okay,
but yeah. I mean it was there, and it was there. It was definitely the old shell game, Bill.
Yeah, and now it's not there again, because I went out and I searched through there, and it's just the mic with the two transmitters like Marcus has. They don't. The other one's not available.
Well, you think it sells out that instantaneously?
Yeah,
I think you spend the extra $100 and get that self-charging box and
case. Yeah, Marcus and I talked about this. Even if you never ever gonna use a second microphone, it's extra worth $100 just to get that case, that charging case.
Right. That charging case is worth the price for sure.
It's golden.
Having that second one here. Okay, now they're talking about here we go again. Deals Drone predicts DJI will release 4 new drones this year. Inspire 3 in March, Air 3 in May, Matrice 350T in June, Mavic 3S in July. Inspire 3, it's been in the rumor mill for a long while. Long way to success of Inspire 2 is finishing up development. DJI is in the process of filming its promo video. What will be new on the Inspire 3 is unknown. The current drone already has the bells and whistles you need for cinematic productions. However, it's rumored the Inspire 3 will be larger than its predecessor and most likely bring updates or smart features and more payload capacity, okay? Which means the camera system. And if it's going to be bigger, I don't see how it could really, I mean, it can be bigger than an Inspire 2, but that's going to make it just beyond insane as far as the size of that is concerned.
Yeah, I mean a full frame on a drone, and I don't mean a full frame with a camera, kind of tagged on like the Sony system, but I mean a built-in full frame camera, I mean I know those cameras come on all, but one that you don't mount like a big camera on it, just the camera just for the drone. That's quite shocking. Hey, Bill, can I divert you just for 1 second here? I don't know if I can't get you to see here, but I told you I put the single mic in my cart. It's still there in the cart. I could order it right now.
Oh, wow.
There. And here's something I talked to Marcus about too. All the information you probably gave is searching from the website on your computer. Lots of times, even when it comes to ordering drones, they're on DJI Store app on your phone. The availability sometimes is better there. It's sooner there, and here in this case, it's right there. I could buy it now. So sometimes go to the DJI app on your phone, not the website.
That's a good point, Ron. That's a really good point. A lot of people can pick up on something like that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Now,
how's that iPhone 14 treating you, Ron?
Good. I've had it about a week now, and of course, I haven't got test camera out because it's been, you don't go outside weather, and I don't shoot a lot of indoors. But I've never had an always on phone before, so now I've got an always on phone, always on watch. So that's kind of nice. You're right. I get a little bit less battery life because of the always on feature, but I'm willing to sacrifice that for the always on. I mean, I'm not one of those people that runs my phone down to nothing all the time. Anyway, so
you just have to think about it a little more. I came from the 13 Max to just the 14 Pro, and smaller battery, and now with the always on, it does.
I can't wait to try it on a drone, like the Altel or the Mini 2, one of my older drones that don't have a smart controller, to see how that works. But but we're diverting Bill's.
Sorry, Bill.
Go on with your Inspire 3 full frame.
Yeah, and in terms of like pricing, now we had heard that it was going to be released late last year in 2022.
Yeah, we all thought fourth quarter.
Yeah, we all thought it was like going to be like a November type release, but it didn't materialize. But one of the things that I can really say with kind of fairly certain about this, I think you're going to see this. You're looking at around. You're probably going to push $20+ thousand for something like this. It's going to have the bells and whistles on it, but you're going to pay for it.
You know what else we can say for certain? Lauren has been flying it for a while. Now,
I don't have any doubt about that.
He's in the chat now. Don't violate his DNA now.
Now see, Lauren's been posting, and if you look on his Facebook page, he's been posting, the weather's bad and he can't fly, but that's really kind of code word for he's probably out there flying. Lauren, we're messing with you.
Here's the thing: if Lauren was under NDA, he wouldn't be in the chat over here right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, but one last comment on the Inspire 3, and we everybody thought it was going to be fourth quarter, and now it's going to come in the first quarter of 2023. This is my personal opinion. This is not based on any knowledge or fact, but when they throw those consumer drones out like the Mini 3 Pro and that, and they have a whole bunch of like little firmware problems right out of the box. It's probably not that important because mostly just consumers are buying them. But I believe when an Aspire drone comes out, the professionals want to get it right away and get it in use. They can't be dealing with a whole bunch of little issues or whatever. So they probably test the Inspire 3 a little more thoroughly than they do our consumer grade drones, because just like you said, the $20,000, those professionals, they need to have it up and running. They don't need to be sidelined by needing a whole bunch of patches and firmware.
That's an excellent point, Ron. And and for those of you, if some of you are familiar, with this, forgive me, but like an Inspire 2, it has multiple things that need to have firmware updates on it. Okay. It's not just the drone itself. There's the battery, there's the camera, there's other parts of the operating system. There are multiple things on there.
Hey, Marcus, like the old Hops and Zeno, remember you had to do 3 separate firmware updates for the drone, the camera, and the batteries?
Oh my God, was that that was an operation.
All with different software.
Yeah. And see that's where that is on that. So we'll move on. The Air 3. The article talked about the guy hated them making a Mavic 3 Classic because it made the airline feel useless. Will it be? He said, "Here's some items he hopes it includes," and this is just him. Greater than 20 megapixel camera, a must. Active Track 5.0, yes. 6K video, sure, why not? 4K 120 frames per second would be nice. 30 to 40 minutes flight time, most likely.
Hey, Bill, what he missed, Bill.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
Marcus. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the one that he missed. Yeah, increased flight time. Yeah, is probably the biggest one. 4K 120, but vertical video, I guarantee you.
Bingo.
Yeah. That would be, and that would give it and hold that back from the Mavic 3 series to give it a more consumer feature. But that greater than 20 mega camera, I wonder if he thought this out. like the cameras, like the Mini 3 and the not the Anafi, the little Altel Nano, they claim to have 48 and 50 megapixel cameras, but they're really 12 megapixel cameras, and they're doing that whatever, where they shoot the same thing a bunch of times and get all those megapixels.
HDR.
Yeah, a true 20 megapixel camera is better than those 48 and 50 megapixel cameras you see in the smaller drones, because they're using software to do that, not hardware. So if he means that this would get a 48 or 50, we don't want to see that, because that means it's going to be probably a 12 megapixel camera and not this 20 megapixel.
Yeah, with 20, and that's a good point, Ron. A lot of people are like, they look at those high numbers for megapixels and they're like, wow, that's a drone I want. And it's just like, do some more checking, do some more reading, find out how you get that, versus a drone like this. If it's a true 20 megapixels with the hardware and the camera, yeah, that's going to have some really crisp, sharp, clear images from that.
It's not on this list, Bill, but I think we talked about this a little bit last week. They also maybe need to increase the obstacle avoidance a little bit more on the Air 3, not all the way to the Mavic 3 level, but just a little bit more than it has now.
Man, it's really good right now.
And it is good now. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like,
but they could put more fisheyes on there, Marcus, and get even more kind of side
I agree.
And coverage.
Yeah, there's potential there. Yeah, there's no better is always good, and
And we don't. I'm gonna make this real fast, because Marcus, I get on a high horse about this. All the people that say, "Oh, we don't want obstacle avoidance. Real pilots don't need obstacle avoidance," or and tracking whatever. And we want the obstacle avoidance for when we're doing things like focus track or whatever, orbiting and things like that, where it's flying manually, whatever. That's why it's good to have things like tracking, obstacle avoidance. It allows the automated flight features to perform much better and safer.
Spotlight mode in particular, where you're highlighting a point of interest, you're flying the drone, but if you have good OA on the drone, a couple things, often you're flying sideways or whatever, so you're not worried about going sideways into a tree or a building or something like that. And it's also that intelligence that keeps that point of interest right in center frame, or like you can do in DJI, you can put that point of interest in whatever corner of the frame you want. But that's the stuff that is.
I mean, yes. I mean, 75% of my flights, I don't need obstacle avoidance. But when I want tracking obstacle avoidance, I want it.
Right.
I want it to work real well.
Right.
That's a great point. And I'm gonna interject here. With the Mavic 3, I had it up and I was doing Waypoints, Hyperlapse with Waypoints. Okay, because that's been on there for a while.
Yeah.
And while I was going to the third waypoint to do the hyperlapse, there was a bird, and I saw it very quickly, and obstacle avoidance kicked in, and the drone stopped instantly. Okay.
Wow.
Even with my hand on the stick, it stopped instantly, and then I just engaged return to home right there, because I saw it was like one of those, you just saw it real quick, and I knew exactly what it was, and I said, I'm coming back. And that's what
Hyperlapse is another great example, Bill. If you're running a hyperlapse, and say you make a mistake in your program of the hyperlapse and you have it going towards some kind of object, the obstacle avoidance will not let the hyperlapse fly right into a building, a tree, anything that's big enough for it to see. So
let me give you a better example of that, Ron. So you're programming the thing and you're setting altitude, right? So you're doing it on the map. On that map, you may not know that tree is 35 meters high and you have the drone at 30 meters. So that's what Ron is getting at there. So
yeah, that's very important. And that's a great point, Marcus. Both you guys, this is excellent. And that's why, a lot of people poo-poo, obstacle avoidance. I don't need it, rough and tumble, blah, 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 but hey, how many times, and here's probably one of the greatest examples, if for instance, you're doing a droney and you're pulling back on that stick and you don't see something behind you, okay, you're gonna run into it because you don't have that vision in behind you. But if you have rear facing obstacle avoidance, it's gonna stop and it'll beep, and then you'll know there's something behind you, and it says, you'll see that error come up or that warning message pop up on your screen. So
Yep,
You know, that's why I'm always a big fan of that. And I agree, Ron, with what you said, with what Marcus said as well.
And most of the drones that we fly and talk about, you could turn obstacle avoidance off.
Yes. And the last thing, you know, on the Air 3 before we move on here, you know, one of the big things, and I think we had talked about it last week as well, is pricing on this. And pricing is going to be really, really huge on this, Ron, because they need to make sure, okay, like with a base model and a base controller, that you can at least, for maybe like $899, $999, something, as long as it's under $1,000. I think that's super important for this kind of drone, because if they go over that $1,000 threshold with just a base package, it's going to cause a lot of people to pause. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, Bill, I don't disagree with your thinking whatsoever, but I bet you it'll be more than $1,000. I bet you we're looking more like 1,200. That's just,
yeah. But they have to find a sweet spot somewhere between the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 Classic. They have to find a sweet spot in there that would entice somebody that buy either one instead.
Let me tell you what that'll be, Ron. It'll be a feature. It'll be a feature that DJI puts on that drone that everybody goes, wow, I got to have that.
Right.
You know, and Marcus says this every time, and he's right, because DJI will always put something on there that you didn't know that you needed till you read about it. Okay. And then I got to have it. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, the guy I have it here is going to be the 30, 35, 40-minute flight time is going to be the
vertical video.
And that will be, but I mean, the battery will be the real home run, because you'll just as many people. I don't like TikTok or whatever. So, you know, you'll have that crowd too. But yeah, I kind of maybe agree with Marcus a little bit. You know, I think the base package is still going to be under at least over 1,000, because, you can't put, I mean, it's hard to put, version, another version up from version 2 to 3 here. It's hard to move up a version without raising it at all. And it's what, $999 now with just the one battery, basic controller and drone, right? So right there, bare minimum 1,050, you got to have some price increase.
Hey, before we get off the Air series real quick, and I keep, to me, the Air 2S right now is the ultimate travel drone because of the size and all the features, and it's powerful. I'm going to take it with me before I'm going to take the Mini 3 Pro or something like that. It's the same size. It's more powerful. It has, other than vertical video, has honestly more features and a better camera, that 1-inch sensor. So anyway, that aside, they've already got a really great drone. So whatever they make with the Air 3 is going to have to be something special.
For air travel, it's probably the sweet spot.
I agree. That's a perfect travel drone. That's an excellent point, Marcus. Thank you for bringing that up.
Again, air travel. If you're riding your giant Tahoe, it doesn't matter what drone you take along, right, Marcus?
That's a big 10-4. Hell, I'll put that Inspire 3 back there.
Ooh, Marcus is the one that has a bill. He's the one testing it, not Lauren.
There you go. There you go. We're going to finish up here real quick. A Trees 350T, they're saying it'll be an upgraded version of the M300. Mavic 3S, and he was kind of spitballing with a new version of Active Track, or bring Active Track to telecamera.
And surpass the Skydio.
Surpass Skydio. Goggles SE in Motion 2, which we already know about. And then new DJI cameras and gimbals in 2023. We already know the DJI RS3 Mini is there.
369, Bill.
Yeah. And then the Pocket 3 possibly in April, Osmo Mobile 7 in October, maybe even a 5K video. So
this list, Bill, which we talked about what products you're looking for. Is there any product on this list that you think may not make it out the gate this year that we may not see show up?
Okay, I'm thinking maybe some of the cameras. I think some of the cameras and maybe the Mavic 3S, okay? And the reason I say this Mavic 3S is they may determine that there's not a marketing segment for this drone, okay? The price point on this S, who knows what that indicates? if they're taking after the Air 2 series with the S, it would have some upgraded features. If it's a Mavic 3 with an upgraded features, who knows? Okay. But my guess would be maybe like a Pocket 3 or an Osmo, and then this Mavic 3S. I think definitely you're going to see a new Air 3 this year. I think also one of the things you'll see that they don't even talk about on this list, there's going to be a Mini 3 SE, okay? Because the Mini SE did really well in terms of sales, and at price point, you couldn't pass it up. And I think if the DJI does it right, they'll hit a home run with like a Mini 3 SE.
And the SEs never make this type of list or speculation, whatever. They kind of just pop out.
They just show up.
They show up, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Question of the day. What did you think of DJI Possible 2023 Releases Part 2? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.